Hello, podcast listeners. We know podcasts are a great way to catch up on a program that you may have missed on KSJE, and it's provided as a free service of this radio station. But you know, KSJE is now listener-supported, and so while you enjoy this podcast, we hope that you'll also take some time to join KSJE. Become a member today. It's quite easy to do. Just go to our website at ksje.com/support and pick the level of support that best matches your budget. Thanks again for listening. Here's your podcast. 11 minutes past 8 o'clock. It is Tuesday morning, the second day of December 2025. Good morning, everyone. I'm Scott Michlin. Thanks for tuning in to KSJE 90.9 FM over the air right here in San Juan County, New Mexico. In Durango, Colorado, we broadcast there at 103.3 FM. And if you're listening to my voice from anywhere else on the planet, you've gone to our website to tune in. That's ksje.com. Welcome also to our viewers who are joining us today. The video of this program streaming out live to the KSJE Facebook page and also to our YouTube channel. So welcome aboard, everyone. So glad that you are with me, because coming up here in the next few moments, our guest, our monthly visit from a member of the San Juan Health Council. San Juan County is here this morning. We're going to be talking about the Memorial for the Unclaimed and much, much more. That is our topic coming up in the next few moments right here on KSJE this morning. And then, of course, don't forget, later on this hour, I'll be checking in with Amber Francisco over at the Farmington Regional Animal Shelter, and she'll be introducing us to some of the pets available for adoption this week. Stay tuned for that. That's Gretel on the screen right there. Nick Hess is standing by. He'll take us roving with the arts. That is coming up next hour after the news at 9:06. And don't forget about the new KSJE radio app. It is available now at the App Store and Google Play. You can stay connected with us while you're on the go. Our podcasts, our live streaming, all the things you love about KSJE in your pocket, the KSJE radio app. Outside our studios this morning here at San Juan College, it is 22 degrees at the moment under partly sunny skies. We're expecting a day of increasing clouds today with a high of 40 degrees in Farmington, partly cloudy skies tonight, the low 31. It'll be mostly cloudy tomorrow with a high of 36 on Wednesday, 26 overnight. Sunshine but cooler weather on Thursday with a high of only 35. It'll be 38 and sunny on Friday, 43 on Saturday, 47 with sunshine on Sunday with overnight lows, as you can see, mostly in the 20s. Back with my guest with more right after this on KSJE. KSJE is supported by San Juan Regional Medical Center. The most important ingredients to sustaining health and wellness are the resources and tools that help you live a vibrant and healthy life. At San Juan Regional Medical Center, the goal is to promote health by making sure those resources are available. Find the path to the best life at lifebetterhere.com. San Juan Regional Medical Center. Better is our mission, improving lives through personalized health and care. The holidays are here. If you can't get to all the holiday events in person, let KSJE take you there live on Facebook with KSJE on the road. Join us from the Farmington Civic Center at 5:30 p.m. on Wednesday, December 3rd for the Mayor's Story Time and Christmas tree lighting. Then at 5:30 p.m. on Thursday, December 4th, it's the Very Chilly Christmas Parade from downtown Farmington. Happy holidays, and thanks to all the sponsors of KSJE on the road.
Now back to Studio A and the award-winning Scott Michlin Morning Program on KSJE.
My guest this morning in Studio A, as I mentioned, from San Juan County, representing the San Juan Health Council this morning, Megan Cullip is here. She is, of course, the San Juan County Director of Community Health and Social Services. Good morning to you. You're not a stranger to that seat or this radio station, for that matter.
No, I'm not.
But it's great to have you here wearing this hat that you are wearing with San Juan County and the work that you do for the county and some of the things that are coming up. I know an event that's very near and dear to your heart and mine as well. You've included me, I think, every year that you've done this in Farmington. So thank you for that. And you're including me again. But the number of folks included is getting larger and larger, I think, as it becomes more of a community kind of event, I think, over the years.
Yeah, definitely number of participants, number of folks that come to honor. This year, I would say the list, though, of unclaimed individuals is actually smaller than prior years. So,
Right.
Which is interesting.
Right, very true. We are talking, of course, about the Memorial for the Unclaimed. It is an annual event that has been happening now. It's happening this year on December 17th, one of the shortest days of the year, 6 p.m. at Artifacts Gallery. It is a community event. It's open to everybody. It's a free event to come and attend. And the idea is, as Megan mentioned, is to honor the lives of folks who've passed away in our community who there's no next of kin, really. We just don't know maybe if they have any family. We've looked and looked and looked and haven't found anybody, basically, right?
Right, yeah. So these folks, unclaimed sounds kind of harsh, but all that means is that when they died and either died in a hospital or were found by Office of Medical Examiner outside the hospital, there either was no next of kin listed or they were unsuccessful in finding the next of kin.
Yeah.
And there is a period of time that they wait for somebody to come forward, and then if they don't have anybody come forward, they're classified as unclaimed.
Right. And so their names get on this list, and you kind of develop this ceremony around them to remember them and honor them, and that's kind of what this is about, and it includes kind of a candlelight portion and some singing and some remarks as well.
Right, yeah, so lots of music, there's some poetry, a very brief message, and then, importantly, you read every name.
Right.
Every single name individually gets read, and we kind of pause and acknowledge that person, and then we do candle lighting. So
yeah.
It's a short service, but it's designed sort of like any other memorial service would be, but for these folks that just didn't get that chance.
Sure. And remind us again, you brought this from another community where you had seen it happen, I think, or you were involved with it taking place in another community, but you wanted to do it here, too.
Sort of. So, actually, the service that I saw was in San Antonio, and it wasn't actually a memorial for the unclaimed. It was a memorial for homeless individuals. And so it was similar in that it was like X amount of homeless individuals died on the streets, but they didn't have access to the individual names. And so it was just a group honoring of and in San Antonio, that's a very large number.
Sure, right. You couldn't read all, or I guess you could read all the names, but it would take a while.
It would take a while,
sure.
But it was a similar dynamic, some remarks, some candlelight. And so I had gone to that when I was in college in San Antonio and always remembered that. And then when I came to Farmington, the story is I was a minister at that time of First Presbyterian Church, and we were in the church, I think, going over music for probably the Christmas service because it's always kind of close to that time.
Right.
And somebody came in the back door of the church, and he was clearly probably sleeping on the streets, and he saw the piano cover that you place over the piano, and he was like, "Can I use that as a blanket?" And it was just sort of one of those moments where you're like, wow, somebody wants to use this piano cover as a blanket tonight because it's cold.
Right.
And I just started thinking, well, what happens if that guy goes away tonight, something happens to him, would anybody know? Mm-hmm. And that got me started down this rabbit trail in my mind. And so I did some calling around and discovered, well, the county is who's responsible for those individuals. And so I called the person in charge of indigent cremations at that time and said, hey, I would like to do this memorial. Am I allowed to have those names? And she was like, oh my gosh, yes, can I be involved? This is fantastic. This is what should happen.
Right.
And so that's the story behind it.
That's how it all got started.
Yeah.
And again, the number of names just varies year to year depending on what the county has on their list, basically. And as you said, there's efforts to find next of kin if it's not readily known when someone passes away. But after a certain amount of time, then that person's name, I guess, goes on the unclaimed list, as it were.
Yeah, the county works with Farmington Funeral Home. Mm-hmm. That's who we contract with. And so those folks, receive the body, they take care of the body, they send me the paperwork, and sometimes the individual's unclaimed, which is a separate category, and then sometimes the individual is indigent, which means that they have folks around them, but nobody can afford the cremation, and so they're classified as indigent, and the county also takes care of those folks.
Gotcha. But having the ceremony, I guess the idea too is just that the community comes together because these people were members of our community, and so they deserve some honor in death. Even if we didn't know who they were in life, kind of a thing, to just kind of recognize that they were part of our community.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's just and it's helpful for the living too. Anytime the living go to a service, it reminds us how precious every life is.
True.
And we don't know the backstories of these folks. It could be that they had a very, very full life, and they knew lots of people, and then for whatever reason, towards the end of their life, they just didn't anymore, or they were detached from community for who knows, how, many reasons that might happen. And so just because we don't know what they contributed, what they didn't contribute, whatever, doesn't mean that that individual life wasn't precious, because every life is.
Right. Very true. And so that is what is coming together on the 17th. And
yes.
You try to have it this time of year. That's also by kind of design, right?
Yeah. It's by design because I try to have it as close to the longest day of the year as can be.
Longest night.
As close to the longest night of the year as possible, and that kind of varies depending on the schedules of this, whatever.
So it'll be around December 21st. This is December 17th.
Right. This is kind of the earliest we've ever done it, but still one of the longest nights of the year.
Right.
And so, it's supposed to be. There's a poetry to that. Some of these folks might have been homeless. They might have been discovered on the street, and what would that be like at the longest night of the year to be out there? When it's 20 degrees or lower,
right?
And you're kind of struggling to survive. It's by design. Wanted to do some poetry there.
Exactly. And again, I think since I have been involved, for all of them, the crowds, the attendance has been getting larger and larger. To me, it seems over the years.
I think so. I think it took a while for people, that word to get out that it happens, and then people go to one and they're touched by it, and then they bring their friends, and it seems like every time we conclude the service, there's there's time to kind of mingle, and people find it powerful. I think because, like we're saying, it reminds people that we're in a community together. We should look out for each other. Nobody should be alone, and everybody matters.
Right. What's some of the reactions that you've gotten from folks after the service? Have you got any ones that stand out over the years?
I think, one person had a really interesting response. She had sent me a follow-up email. This was a friend of mine, and she just said, wow, this was a powerful event. And then it reminded her of a commencement address she had heard at the Rochester Medical College or something. And they had they write their own Hippocratic oaths, basically. And their oath was something to the effect of cure when we can, treat often, comfort always. And that line, comfort always, and even the cure when we can. I mean, these social issues are mammoth, right? I mean, people have been trying to solve the homeless issue, the poverty issue for forever, and so we cure when we can, but we comfort always. And I thought that was really powerful to read.
Yeah.
So.
And kind of based on that first do no harm type of oath, right?
Right.
So going off on that as well. So interesting. And now, of course, in your new-ish capacity with San Juan County, you're kind of dealing with some of these folks, right? With the indigent care and indigent fund and things like that for health care in San Juan County, shifting to a related topic this morning.
Sure. Yeah. Well, so it's interesting because I've had 3 different capacities in town. And so the first one was as minister, and this is a very sort of ministerial type of duty. And then the second one was working for Basin Home Health and Hospice. And a lot of the folks on the list, Basin Hospice had taken care of. Right. And so that was, interesting. And then now, of course, they come to my desk, and it's interesting that it's followed me throughout these 3 different roles.
Right.
So like I said, one of the categories is indigent, and San Juan County is responsible for something called the Healthcare Assistance Program, and all 32 counties in the state have that program. It's required by law, and the purpose of that program is that there's always this sort of thin bar of people that don't qualify for Medicaid because they're just a little bit over, right? Because Medicaid has to have a cap.
Right.
But you could be $200 over that cap. And then you could have a job, maybe at a fast food restaurant or something. Well, the fast food restaurant doesn't offer health insurance.
Right.
So,
maybe it's part-time or whatever. Sure.
Yeah, part-time, or maybe it's full-time, and you just don't get, and, I mean, they don't have
No
that
benefits.
benefit. And so, you're making more than Medicaid, but you're not really making enough to cover some sort of big expense that might come your way, the hospital bill or whatever. And so the Healthcare Assistance Program is responsible for paying that claim up to $10,000. We contract with two organizations in the county. One is San Juan Regional Medical Center, and one is Presbyterian Medical Services. And so those folks basically invoice the county, and the county covers those claims up to that cap, which is a big deal because medical debt can really hamstring somebody for a long time.
Sure.
If you show up with an $8,000 bill from the emergency room, that could hinder you for many, many years in trying to pay that off. So.
Right. So the county has that in place, as do all counties in New Mexico, as you said. And I think all states have something similar.
I think so,
in order for, so if someone were just to walk into a emergency room with a need, they would get care, I guess, is the idea.
Right, because, it's against the law to withhold care if somebody can't pay, and so somebody has to pay on the back end of that. And,
Right.
It's a collection of tax dollars. It's a collection of federal, and it's a collection of gross receipts tax that people in the county pay, and that money goes into a pot, and that's how it's meted out. So.
Right, exactly. And so, again, maybe the rates are a little bit different for the reimbursement for that care, but we won't go into that because it's very complicated, right?
Not super complicated. Basically, HCAP rates are Medicaid rates.
The same.
So
Okay.
that's the same, yeah.
Gotcha. Very good. And so, but for a lot of these people, as you say, because they don't have the funds, maybe they are helped with this fund, and so it's, I guess, conceivable that maybe some folks that were getting some of these indigent funds are on this list of unclaimed, right?
For sure, yeah. We do see some overlap in those names.
Yeah. Gotcha. And so that is something that the county is able to do and to continue to do. Again, I know healthcare is changing and evolving and what have you, but that is something that I think is by law, I think you said, and the state has kind of been ensuring that the counties have the funds to cover these things for these individuals, more or less.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's a joint effort with state funding and county tax funding.
Right.
We anticipate that the HCAP funding will have to be larger to cover some of what's happening with Medicaid. And so that's something on the horizon that we're having to be aware of might happen.
Yeah. Some more conversations needed about that.
Yeah.
So, got
it.
And then I guess when these people then do pass away, money from that fund goes in to cover their cremation or what have you, their final expenses?
It's a separate fund.
If they don't have any?
It's a separate fund.
I see.
But yeah, so basically the indigent cremation rate is $1,000. So when Farmington Funeral Home takes care of that, they invoice us. We pay them $1,000, which is cheaper. It sounds weird applying that to a body, but it is cheaper than the usual rate. So if the usual rate is about $2,500, we're paying Farmington Funeral Home $1,000, and so it really is Farmington Funeral Home is doing us a service,
right?
Because they are getting paid less than the average cremation. So that should be pointed out that they're doing some charity for the community, and it's of course a locally owned business in the county, and so it's nice to have a business, chip in on this cause.
Right.
So yeah, but it is a separate fund. We allocate about $30,000 a year to it, which has always historically covered. I mean, I think during COVID, those numbers were higher of individuals. It was like 25, 27, and so that 30,000 chunk of change covers that program every year. Gotcha.
And so that's part of what you do in your job with the county is to kind of manage some of those things that are coming to you, and many other things too. I know because we've talked about that. So that's a lot that's going on. And so with this ceremony that you've got scheduled, going back to the memorial for the unclaimed, the list again, as you mentioned, is somewhat shorter than in previous years this year for whatever reason.
And who knows why?
Right.
But yeah, it is shorter this year, and that was surprising to me. We don't. we don't know why or how
Right.
or what's going on, but we did do diligence to, look at when we had the ceremony last year, when we have it this year, and making sure we cover all those folks.
Right.
So,
And again, this could be any age. We don't know necessarily. I don't think say during the ceremony how
No.
old these people were when they
Yeah.
passed, but they could be elderly, they could be younger,
Correct.
whatever situation is.
Could
If they
be
passed during the year, they're on the
cause
list.
of death. I mean, we have a couple suicides on there, and then we have a couple died of natural causes in the hospital, and so, it's
Right.
It's yeah, so.
But they're all included.
They're all
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of the beauty of it, if you will. And I think just the idea to just remember them for who they were and to remember that they weren't forgotten and the community cares about each individual, as you said.
Yes.
So that's the important part. And so once again, mark your calendars. It is December 17th, 6 p.m. It's a Wednesday night at Artifacts 302 East Main Street in downtown Farmington, the memorial for the Unclaimed. And this is now the 6th year?
Yeah, 6th year. Because I've been here 7 years. The first year, I didn't think of it, and then I started it the following year. So 6 years.
Look at that.
Which is
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah, it was 2019 was the first one.
Okay. Well, that's important. I think, and again, it's very moving if you have not been before. And I think it's just one of those things that reflects on the community to try to, again, just, the way we treat the neediest among us, I think reflects better on all of us. Or some phrase like that.
Yeah, so how we, I think the phrase is, the measure of sort of a healthy and thriving community comes down to the ways in which we treat our most vulnerable.
That's much better than I said, so thank you.
So, if we were to focus on who, our most vulnerable can be children. They are children, elderly, impoverished. The better we treat those folks is the measure of how healthy we are.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's a great time to just get together as community and to remember these individuals that were part of our community and deserve that reflection for at least a few moments on a cold night in December.
Yes.
So there you go. Megan, thanks for coming in. Thank you for sharing this. Thanks for putting it together again. Again, there's a lot of other folks involved. There's music and a lot of other just really poignant moments during the ceremony. So thanks for putting it all together.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining me every year.
You're welcome. Thanks for asking me back.
Yeah.
So appreciate it very much. Megan Cullip, she is my guest this morning from San Juan County. It is the memorial for the Unclaimed coming up this year on Wednesday, December 17th. Did you enjoy that podcast? We hope that you did. And if you did, share it with your friends. And if you really want to keep podcasts like this coming, please support KSJE. You can do it easily online at ksje.com.